Hello and welcome to week 5 of English 120. This week we're going to be drafting our research paper. You'll be reading, the readings have changed this week, so please pay attention. You're going to be reading chapters 11, 13, and 14 in the Bedford Researcher. These chapters will help you get ready to draft your research paper, so please read them prior to doing the work for this week. You'll have several assignments. We'll have a discussion forum on citing a serial box, which will help us practice MLA citations. You'll do 3 short entries in your active reading journal, and then you will draft your first draft of your research paper. Finally, you have your last research unit in comp class. It's on MLA document format proficiency. So, the next stage in writing your research paper is to take the position statement you've created and to focus it into a thesis. Read Chapter 11 in the Bedford Researcher, especially focusing on pages 205 to 209. Then go back and review the research position statement you put together. This was your topic and the position you wanted to take on that topic in the wider conversation. With your position statement in mind, go back and review all the sources that your annotated bibliography and all the sources you reviewed and the notes you took on them. Then consider your purpose and the role you're going to be taking in writing your paper, and reflect on your readers. Will they have any biases before they read your paper? How might they feel about it? Then you want to draft your thesis statement. Now on pages 205 to 209, it takes you through the process of drafting your thesis statement. You really want to make sure your thesis statement is focused and it clearly states exactly what you're going to be proving in your thesis. In your paper. A lot of times it's a good idea to list the different subtopics you're going to be talking about. Those are the points you're going to make throughout your paper that you'll prove with evidence. So after you've created a solid thesis statement, you'll need to choose several subtopics you can explore in order to prove your thesis. Then you'll use the evidence you found to support your subtopics. So draft your introduction. So the first stage of drafting your research paper is to draft your introduction, where you're going to define your topic, provide a history of the conversation about the topic that you're writing about, and then include your focused thesis statement. There's a lot of great strategies on how to approach your introduction found on pages 238 to 240. Please make sure you review these and choose one of them to use. Then you want to draft your body paragraphs, where each paragraph is going to focus on a central idea or subtopic. Each one will use evidence from your sources to support your subtopics. You're going to relate each subtopic back to your thesis and show how that subtopic is proving your thesis. Between each paragraph you want to transition, and there's a number of transition words such as however found on page 236, so please review those and make sure between paragraphs you're transitioning. Finally, you want to draft a conclusion. In your conclusion, you're going to clearly summarize the points that you've made in your paper. You're going to show how you've proven your thesis, and you're going to take it to a higher level. You're going to relate what you've argued in your entire paper to a larger purpose. Like, what does this topic mean to society? Or the position you've taken on this topic. What does it mean to the United States or Napa Valley College? Take a look at pages 242 to 244 to show for more details on how to really write an effective conclusion. This week I'll be posting a document called Research Paper Drafting Checklist, and I'd like you to make sure these are the things you'll be graded on each part of your paper. So make sure when you draft your paper that you've done each of these things. It's always important too, when you're drafting your paper, after you finish a draft, is to run spell check and make sure just as you're going you keep running spell check. Alright, this week we're going to practice MLA citation. One of the things that, and this is a video that's found in your comp class, but you're going to be watching it again. One of the things about citation, which is when you record the information about your sources at the end of your paper on a works cited page, you create a citation. And a citation is a place where if a reader is reading your paper and they find an important piece of information, they know exactly where to go to find that information. So it has to be very clear. But citations are tricky sometimes because while there's an easy way to cite a book, there's an easy way to cite an article, and you can find that by looking in Chapter 21 of the Bedford Researcher. It'll show a list of all the different types of all the different types of citations and how to list them in your works cited page. Um, but sometimes you'll come across something that's hard to cite. In this video, Professor Reif talks about the basic principles of citation. So how you can, she teaches you how to cite just about anything by showing you how she cites a cereal box. So for this week's discussion post, you're going to have some fun, and I'd like you to find an object or a document or anything. It can be a water bottle, it can be a lipstick, anything you come across and you want to be as creative as possible because you can actually get extra credit points this week if you're super creative. And I'd like you to cite the thing in MLA format. So the first thing you'll do is find the thing that you want to cite. Then you'll go to Chapter 21 and you'll look at what's the closest citation that I can use. Citation type. Is the closest a book? Is the closest a video game? Is the closest if you look through, there's hundreds of ways to cite something. And you want to find something that's the closest. Now the idea is for you to find different types of citations besides just the book. So try to find something really creative. Remember, the more creative you are, the more points you'll get. So after you cite your thing, then I want you to explain how and why you chose the thing that you wanted to cite, and then the process you went through to cite it. So you want to tell us which type of entry you're citing and how you adapted it to cite what you're talking about. And then as always, once you post it, I'd like you to respond to your peers. In your active reading journal this week, you're really going to be preparing to write your draft. So please make sure you complete this before you begin working on your draft of your research paper. The first entry is you're going to do after you've read Chapter 11 in the Bedford Researcher. I'd like you to complete the questions in the green box found on pages 207 to 209. Then, I'd like you to do entry number 2. You're going to select evidence to support your reasons in your paper, and the questions I'd like you to answer are found on page 212. The third entry is I'd like you to create and review your outline for your research paper, and this is found on page 229 in the Bedford Researcher. Finally, you're going to be doing your last research unit in research lesson in comp class. It's MLA document format proficiency. Once you complete this, you'll be done with comp class. We just have a final exam based on everything you've learned in comp class, but otherwise, you will be done by the end of this week. And last but not least, this is your research paper assignment. You will be turning in a draft of your research paper this week. After you turn in the draft of your research paper, and I'll go over the requirements in just a second, you will get feedback from me next week. You'll also get feedback from one of your peers through a peer review process we'll do next week. And then you'll be revising your paper along with your argumentative paper, your annotated bibliography, and your research topic form as part of your portfolio, which is your final exam in this class for the final week of this class. So that's not next week, that's the following week. So this week, though, you want to focus on drafting your research paper. Now you want your draft to be as finished as possible because you will be graded on how finished your draft is. This is due Sunday, July 21st at 11:59 p.m. Your final paper will be an argumentative research paper that explores the topic you presented in your project topic form. As stated in the project topic form assignment, your topic must be arguable and related to a topic or theme found in the conscious reader. Here's your formal requirements. It needs to be 6 to 8 double-spaced pages. It needs to be in Times New Roman font with 12-point font, and it needs to be completely in MLA format. Please see the sample paper I uploaded earlier in the semester, and also look at Chapter 21 in the Bedford Researcher. The overall requirements. Your paper must use at least 6 academic sources that are referred to using MLA in-text citations and that are listed on a works cited page at the end of your paper. Your paper must use ethos, pathos, and logos to argue your thesis. Your paper must have an introduction where you introduce your topic and the conversation you are joining. Your introduction must have a focused thesis that clearly states the topic you're writing about and establishes the position you are arguing about this topic. Your paper must contain several body paragraphs that introduce subtopics that are used to prove your thesis and are proven with evidence from your sources. Your paper must have a conclusion where you clearly state how you've proven your thesis and you communicate the purpose of your paper. All right, that's it. So next week, after you've turned in your draft, you'll be working on editing and revising. We'll have a discussion forum, an active reading journal, and you'll be doing a peer review of one of your peers' papers. And you'll be taking your comp class final test. All right, I'll see you guys online.